This is Cooking with Miller. Oh, I have my mask on and you probably can't hear me. This is Cooking with Miller at the Co-op in River Falls, Wisconsin, and we're showing you how to make basically party trays from anywhere between 22 people and 10 people. Party trays are extremely easy to make. They're not expensive. We have a lot of unusual and interesting products here at the Co-op that can be used in a party tray that'll make them pop to the people that come to your party. They'll say, "Oh, where did you get that?" And you don't have to tell them, but you could. I like it when people have fun with their trays. It's something that they normally wouldn't eat or wouldn't think about eating, and then it can be just an interesting thing. Hello, we're going to make a dessert tray. This is something you can make at home, and making trays is all about making sure your ingredients are tasty, and well, tasty is the main thing. So, and the right size. So what we're going to do is a dessert tray. You notice I have 3 dessert trays here, or 3 trays. This is the one that we use at the Co-op quite a bit. It serves about 20. This is a small tray, and this one's an extra small tray. This one will feed about 20, this one could feed about 10, this one could feed about 2. And then you want to build your trays from the ground up. I have some nice brown parchment paper, and I just simply put it on the tray and build my my top onto that parchment tray. It gives it a nice edge. For this tray, I would take the parchment and cut it down. So that's a smaller tray. And this is a very tiny tray, so you got that little edge going. Now for the start, for doing a dessert tray, I want to have the major part of the tray to be the least expensive product. So last time you saw that I made double chocolate brownies. I love using the double chocolate brownies because they're easy to cut, they hold up very well, and you can cut them in bite-sized pieces. So I have some double chocolate brownies from before. We're going to make this medium-sized tray. So I've got my base of brownies on here, and then I may want to put some, this is all about contrast. These are chocolate covered almonds. These are the toffee peanuts. I have some sunny fruit slices, which I usually don't use, but I saw them and I thought, well, those would look nice too. And things like dates and date pieces, I would tend to cut in half, although these are a nice size. So this is the coconut date pieces, and these are regular dates. I would also get the pit out of these, although you don't have to. The last thing I grabbed was some coconut chews. And you can see that now we've got a nice contrast of colors and images. Another two things I really like using is the chocolate covered pretzels that we have and the yogurt covered pretzels. You can use roasted nuts. I wouldn't use raw nuts because I personally don't like the taste of raw nuts in something like this. I like a little bit of crunch, so I would use toasted almonds or toasted walnuts or toasted pecans. Those are all fine. I would prefer not to use nuts that have been broken quite a bit. So it's like what you have to think about is, can people pick up this little piece and enjoy it? So this is our first dessert tray. There we go. Okay, now we're going to be making a vegetable, cheese, meat, and olive tray. You can concentrate the or skew the ingredients one way or the other. So if you were to get some hummus and put it on your tray, it could be more of a Middle Eastern tray. The way I'm doing it is more just an ordinary but beautiful meat and cheese tray. This is chard, and I really like using rainbow chard, but we didn't have any, so we're using a green chard, which is just fine. What we're doing is building a base. I'm going to take off that sheet, and for a vegetable tray or meat tray, I would build the base of vegetable greens. You could use romaine lettuce, you can use regular lettuce, you can use bib lettuce. They all work fairly good. I do like these the best because they, quite honestly, they usually have big leaves and they take up a lot of space. So when I'm trying to do many trays at once, it's a lot easier to fill the platter very quickly. I like using cherry tomatoes. I basically like to have 3 different things that I don't vary a whole lot when I'm making a tray, and that can take up some space. So these cherry tomatoes can sit on a corner, and you can kind of build away from that. Let's see, olives. Oh, these are the dolmas, are always nice. This is a stuffed grape leaf, and you can see that we can arrange those so that they, whoop, I can't hold on to it. Okay, there's dolmas. I would always try and drain things like these olives. So this is kind of like, if you remember painting by numbers, you get things and you just keep on trying to keep in the lines. So we have grapes, grape tomatoes, olives, dolmas. Another nice thing to do is smoked salmon. I usually like to have the salmon in large pieces and give people forks to break it up. So I just pile 3 smoked salmons on the plate. Okay, we're going to do some meat. This is the grass-fed beef in beef sticks. And again, I like to have them bite-sized, so I just start cutting up the beef sticks. Of course, you don't have to do that. You could leave it rather solid if you wanted to. This is the summer sausage that's hickory smoked. I love these products because they go a long way and they're easy to cut to size. One thing you want to watch for is to make sure that you take off inedible parts of your product, because you don't want people at your party to be fiddling around too much. So you notice I cut these into rounds, and then I'll cut them into either halves or quarters. And I vary the location of everything, so I'm not putting too many things in one space that are too similar. All right, now we're going to move along to some cheese. This is the Sartori Montemor cheddar. This one is the King cheddar, and we have Gouda, Van Gogh Gouda. With cheeses, you want to have a good flavored cheese. Each one of these are good flavored. That means if you take a little tiny piece, you get a lot of flavor. If you take a big piece, that's great too. But you can cut them a little bit smaller than you would if it was a bland Colby. Now, another thing I often do when I go and cater things is I always bring some sheets of parchment with me, because I can use those as my cutting surface. Because invariably you get your cutting board dirty, and you might as well be able to cut on something very that you can keep clean, so you're not mixing flavors. So this is the Montemor cheese. You don't have to be picky when you're cutting them up. You just want them to be about the right size to eat with a cracker. And you notice I'm cutting it into about 1/4 inch strips. Some cheeses are difficult to use on trays because they tend to break up, especially artisan cheeses. Some don't. Those cheeses that tend to break up a lot, I might put on as whole. Like if you have a blue cheese, you would maybe put that on as a whole piece of blue cheese, and then make sure you have a cheese knife that people can break off sections. I once did a wedding where I had 4 cheeses on a tray, and They were big trays, but they were full rounds of cheeses. And they had about 300 people. And those cheeses were arranged on a tray with maybe grape tomatoes around it, the greens underneath. And people just chopped off the cheese. It was really fun to watch the kids just really getting into it. So there's some Montemor cheese. So break that up and make it look a little organized. Disorganized, organized. Okay, the king cheese has a very nice flavor. It's easy to work with. This one can kind of be a crumbly cheese that would be difficult. I might put it on the cheese platter like this. And then we have the Gouda cheese, which is kind of a soft cheese. And that's another cheese that you could put on the platter whole. Oh, if you can get it out of the package. There we go. So that is a basic platter. You can add to it and subtract from it. I like using sweet peppers. Let's see, what else? Oh, cucumbers are great. It's nice to, when you do a cucumber, to peel it slightly. You could run a fork down the sides and then cut it up into rounds. Those work really great. Zucchinis work really great too, just cutting up into rounds. Some people have wondered about that, but I think they taste delicious. So we have a meat, vegetable, olive tray. You can always put on 8-ounce containers of hummus. We have a lot of different hummuses at the co-op. They're all excellent. You can do other spreads. We have a cream cheese spread that I really like, or sour cream cheese spread that we have. You can use, then you want to choose crackers. I chose 3 of them that we have the co-op. This is the blue corn tortillas. I think people like to have something different at these events, and this is a really great cracker. Then we have the pita chips from the hummus place in Eau Claire, and they're really great too. And then these are gluten-free crackers. I think you could splurge on the crackers, but you can always choose cheaper crackers. We have rice crackers that work really good too. So that'll round out your dessert, your meat and cheese tray with crackers. The dessert tray, you don't have to have crackers with it, but you could have a little plate of very simple cookies. Okay, so that's 101 on trays. Now let's talk about timing. This tray, which is the dessert tray, you could wrap this tray with plastic, keep it in your refrigerator, and it'll be great for, I don't know, 4 days. The meat and cheese tray, you can also wrap, keep it in your refrigerator, and that'll be good for 2 days. So that's your timing on it. There's some things you want to keep away from, those things that will deteriorate quickly. Let's see, I think that's it. You can put together your party. It's not expensive to do. It's just finding the platters you want to use and have fun.